Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Yes, it's Couch Pilots, all of my best friends. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, but you can call me the Black Hat Check.
I got it. Just go back out there. I've got it under control. Don't worry about it.
And that person not taking care of business
Hey,
off my...
do your fucking job. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Philip Ressisher.
How are you, sir?
I felt good going into this. I don't...
Well, I told you last week we were going to get the black box, like, updated, certified.
Yeah, the plane's black box.
Yeah, this guy is being an asshole. Let him come in. I was like, hey, we're leaving for a flight in about 15 minutes. It's Monday. We got to go. And he's like, well, this will only take about 20 minutes. And I was like, you need to make it 15.
Right.
So then he's doing whatever they do. He's got his laptop hooked up to the USB port of it and is doing stuff. And and I said, what's taking so long? He's like, I'm downloading information. I'm like, what do you mean you're downloading information from the black box? We haven't even used it. We've never crashed.
Right.
He's like, well, it's always acquiring data.
Sure.
And so I'm like, you can't just pull that data without some kind of legal, what do you call that? Subpoena?
Yeah, subpoena, right.
What were you going to say, Presbyterian?
Precipice.
Oh, precipice. So I don't know what kind of information he's pulled. I don't know what he's going to...
I didn't even see the guy come in. I've never seen you talk to someone like that before.
Well, I mean, I'm usually a pretty nice guy.
Usually, yeah.
I mean, very, very rarely do I go off. Very rarely do I hate myself. Very rarely do I hate everybody around me.
Okay. But apparently you hate everyone around you at some times.
I don't like when people screw with us. And to me,
yeah.
We work really hard on this. Season 4, episode 7.
Right.
Okay? It is the end of August.
Sure.
All right? We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And for somebody to just waltz in like we're just noobs and can just do whatever they want makes me... This is our plane. We paid for this plane. Mm-hmm. We bought the black box. If I said, hey, call them up. Hello, Black Box Company. Hey, guys, can you guys come over and download all this shit off my black box? Sure can. We'll be there tomorrow. That's fine. But I didn't say that. I said, hey, can you come and service it, make sure it's up to date and it has all the specs?
Yeah, all the specs, and then you want to secure it.
Right.
Right? You want to make sure it's safe.
Because it was bouncing around because the bungee cord was rotten.
A rotten bungee cord.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a rotten bungee cord because you pull it and it just snaps back at you.
You're totally right. It's just weird. I don't think about it a lot. So to come out and say it, to use that observation, is funny to me.
Right, because I said, hey, we got this one. It's kind of a big, bulky model. It's behind the seat, but it's big and bulky.
We can update it with the proper software. I'm sure it'd be fine still.
But I'm like, is there a smaller size? Because then that way we can put our shoes behind the seat.
How many shoes are you bringing up here?
I always bring my slippers.
Okay, that's one.
I bring a sports shoe.
2.
And then I bring my work boots.
Yeah, see, that all makes sense.
And then I bring my rubber boots.
Now, why do you do that?
Because sometimes we land in the water. And you have to hop out, get in the water, and then chain it to the dock.
I don't think we've ever really touched on this before.
We go to Alaska,
but we're not good pilots. I mean, we're pilots. Sometimes we'll land on the water.
Well, no, like sometimes you have to land on the water. Like up in Alaska, you have to land on the water.
Right? Because their runway is the Baltic Sea.
Sure, and there's not enough salt like the other Dead Sea to where it would keep the boat up.
Right, so you have to just land on it.
I don't know. Another thing is where is John? John should have been handling this whole situation. We were in the captain's lounge.
I can actually answer this. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're handling this asshole out here at the black box. John was bringing me a plate of goodies, treats into the captain's lounge, and I said, John, your beard's looking a little rough because he was growing out his beard.
Sure.
And he's like, "Oh, I'll take care of it." So I was like, "Okay, great. Hand me all those snacks first before you do that." He does. And so I'm eating snacks, and then I hear a blood-curdling scream coming out of the bathroom. That's what I thought. So I got up. I finished the rest of the plate of snacks first. I mean, it was let a Ritz cracker sit there and rot and get stale.
How many did you put in your mouth at one time? I always put 4.
By themselves.
I'll eat a whole sleeve of crackers.
Absolutely.
Ritz crackers.
Ritz crackers, I could probably get about 6 or 7 in my mouth at once. But these had, a variety of smoked goudas and, salted salmon.
Deer meat.
All the venison we could handle. So I'm finished. I hear the blood-curdling scream, and I think, well, I should really attend to that. And instead, I kind of finish up the snacks. I eventually get in there. Blood everywhere. Blood everywhere.
In the captain's lounge bathroom?
Just down the hall from that. He doesn't have the key.
The tarmac.
He asked.
The tarmac restroom.
Right. He said, "Can I just? I got to go. I got to take care of this."
Nope.
I said, "No, I don't think so, John." So he makes his way down. I make my way down to there because of course, I can go in the tarmac with dirt workers. I don't need a key for that. I don't even think there's a door on there. And so I go in.
Just a series of maze walls.
Yeah, just poorly constructed maze walls. I think it's from old cubicles. So I get in there, and the cubicle walls are just covered in blood, and I say, "Christ Almighty, what is happening in here?" And I see John. He's trying to trim his beard. Something is up with his Norelco because he bought a Norelco,
Sure.
and I said, "You should have bought a wall." And he's like, "Well," he said he got a good deal on it. Anyway, it had cut him, not like a jugular or something, but it had cut, and it just was not. I think he's anemic. And so he's bleeding. He's not clotting, and it's getting all over the place.
Is it squirting all over everywhere?
It wasn't squirting. It wasn't an aorta.
So what was
thing.
your? Obviously you.
I said, clean this shit up.
As a pilot, you're a first responder.
I am trained, the dark arts.
In the dark arts and first aid.
Oh, yes, that too.
Did you apply pressure?
I said, John, I don't know how you got blood all over the place. I don't know why you're not clotting, but clean this shit up. If you need something, just blood curdle scream. And then I turn around and I said, point me in the direction of some more of those snacks. And he was really weak at this point. He was very pale.
Sure.
And he kind of lift up a finger and he's like, head down hallway B.
Right.
Which I did. And of course, there's no snacks down there, John. There's no snacks down there, John.
So have you seen him since then?
No. I saw an ambulance come a little bit later. I really don't think it's related.
You don't think it's related?
I mean, probably not. I mean, yes. Was there a lot of blood? You bet. Did he look pale and weak?
Blood.
Sure he did. But it was just a nick right on the neck. He's fine. He's got to be fine.
Okay.
He's got to be fine.
All right.
It's my John.
All right. Well, then that explains why I had to deal with this black box asshole.
Yes, because John wasn't out there to take care of it. Because I think he was just in there. Of course, his key unlocks the janitor's closet, so he had access to mop and bucket. I'm sure he was in there cleaning his shit up. Sure. And when we see him next, I'm sure he's going to have a little Band-Aid down there. But guess what? He's going to be well groomed.
Sure.
Because I said you got to tighten it up, pal.
Well, hopefully he's going to be out there on the tarmac when we get this thing going.
I hope so. And if not, we could be in some real trouble.
We've never been in trouble before.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
All right, just to quickly summarize our show,
it's the blood-curdling, slaying.
It's a Vincent Price, decrepit skeleton, rotten flesh hour. Honestly, though, Couch Pilots is a new age, avant-garde look at the subtle complexities of urban decay and the economics behind the gentrification movement of the late 20th century. This show is it's very much that, or we are licensed airline pilots that like to discuss television shows that had only one episode. I can never remember which one, but it's definitely one of those two.
They both sound spot on.
It's one of those two, for sure.
Sure.
Anyway, I'll maybe over the course of the show we'll get more well-defined about what we're doing.
Yeah, well, we have time.
Today we discuss the pilot episode of Korgoth of Barbaria. It's just very difficult to say. From the year of our Lord, 2006.
2006. That was a good year for the Roses.
Great year.
I was 31 years old.
What a great year to be that age.
Man. 2006. Let me see.
I was 25. I'd hit the quarter century mark.
Did you have any big life events at 25?
Boy, oh boy. I think I just moved back home with my mother.
After a tumultuous end to a relationship.
I genuinely believe if you don't learn from your mistakes, you will have many of these instances. I had a garbage relationship. It lasted way too long. We produced a wonderful child from it. But I had one crazy relationship.
Sure.
And around 25 is when that ended. I moved back with my mom, only to buy a house a couple years later. So I was back on the upswing. But 25, arguably a low point for me in my life.
A low point that led you in the direction to where you can only go up.
That's right. You can't. I mean, there is a bottom.
There's a bottom. We've all had a bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we've been bottom.
Yeah. Sometimes we're a power bottom.
Sure. I am glad to see that over these past 10 years,
That's right.
you've went from nothing, living with your mother,
Right.
ending a relationship,
Right.
with a Chinaman,
Mm-hmm.
at that, to bouncing back and becoming a mediocre citizen, but a best friend.
I'll take that. Sure. I'll take that. How about you, wise guy? What were you doing at 31?
Something really funny. Your daughter said,
Because you just went camping with her.
my dad is so cheap.
That's what she said?
Yeah. I was like, no, he's not. He's frugal or something like that. And it's just to me. And then got caught off guard. But another thing, she said something about making her bed. And she quoted you saying, "You'll make it the way I taught you to make it." And I was like, that's Jason.
I just say take pride in the things that you have.
Sure.
And take care of them, and they'll take care of you.
Yeah, she's a good kid.
What was the context about me being frugal?
Because we were talking about camp. Peyton had went to an engineering camp, and we were talking about how much it costs to go to that camp. And then we were talking about Eli going to camp next year. I think it'd be a good idea for him to go to camp.
Yeah.
And she went to Girl Scout camp. Your daughter did.
Okay.
You don't know that?
Well, she went for like a one overnight thing,
Yeah.
and then she went to another camp that was like a week long.
Yeah. And so I think it had some context of that's how it started. And then I was talking about how parents, take pride in, being able to do that for children.
Sure.
And then she called you a cheap bastard, basically.
I
found it one of the things, one of the qualities I liked best about the weekend was when she was being bad or doing something I didn't think she should do. I was like, I can text your father.
Well, what's an example of that?
Huh?
What's something bad that she did?
Oh, not bad, just pouty.
Ugh.
Because she was in an environment she didn't want to be in.
This is what she wants to do. She comes over to my house. She gets on her iPad that she paid for by herself, which she's very proud of it. She loves her iPad. She plays it all the time, and she should. But she plays on it too much. And sometimes she'll just sit in her room. And she just got some roller skates. So I was like, let's go out and do something. Let's get out of the house. Let's do something. And I was like, is there a store that you want to go to or just somewhere we can go out and be out in the world and be social? And she's like, well, if we go to a toy store, can I get something? And I said, probably not.
Right.
I said, you don't need anything. You can't even close your closet the way it is. Why am I going to add to that?
Right.
This kid.
Kids.
She's got... I may be a poor bastard, but she's got more than I ever had.
Sure. She's a beautiful child. She's a beautiful child. She's fun. I like her. It was cute because she was way out of her element, and I thought that was adorable.
That is funny to me. Highlights from the year 2006. Highlights. What happened? What happened in this year? What are some of the things that are notable that can put us in the mind frame of that time, so maybe we can properly absorb the pilot as it should be?
I think it's very important for us to look at our surroundings before we rate and talk about a show that didn't make it at that time.
Context clues.
God, I love that word.
12 coal miners die in the Sago mine disaster near Buckhannon, West Virginia, in the United States.
There's never been a good mining story. Never.
Yeah,
Black Lung,
Black Canary, all there's the Canary Holocaust,
Yeah, and mines just falling in on themselves and people being trapped. Never be like, yep, mining was a great experience.
I went down, came out a better man.
Right.
And to me, it's like, aren't we to a point in our lives where we have the technology to
extract.
Yeah, why do we have to send human beings, 2-3 miles into the earth to like pick stuff out?
And we really don't, because if you look at these big, huge, on a global scale, the like Caterpillar mining and stuff, they just rip through with these machines. They just rip through the ground. It pulls that stuff up.
Yeah.
But there are some companies or some poor areas that still have to do it the old-fashioned way because they don't have $15 million to buy one of these tractors.
Yeah, true that. True that. Google purchases YouTube for $1.6 billion in stock. Now, didn't we just talk about Google or YouTube starting in the last episode?
Yeah.
And now they're being bought already
for over $1 billion.
Can you imagine being the brain behind YouTube and then a year later them saying, "Hey, how about you are an instant billionaire now?"
Okay.
Say, oh yeah.
But this is the time for the internet boom. This was where everybody's making money off of it. Everybody, even AOL is still making money.
Saddam Hussein is charged on May 15th and following the trial is found guilty of crimes against humanity and sentenced to death by hanging. What's his deal?
Saddam Hussein?
Yeah, let's get into it.
He was super poor sport. He was bad at checkers, and every time he lost, he threw a fit. And then he went up against Bobby Fischer, and Bobby Fischer beat the shit out of him. Just beat him like the fastest checker match ever. And stewardess, could you get me a drink, please? Thank you. Looking good, honey. Looking good. Don't think about the stuff I said in the last episode. No. I kid.
I didn't know that Bobby Fischer, A, played checkers. I think he's a chess master. And B, had any kind of exchange with Saddam Hussein whatsoever. This is great. I really love to see when a married couple gets together like this. Molly is... she's getting kissed on the breast. I don't think that right one's been kissed. Why don't you come over here? I do, as far as you know. I do have all my teeth. Who filmed Saddam Hussein being hung? And who watched it?
Somebody filmed it?
Yeah. You can watch it. Do not pull it up, please. Do it after the show. Yeah, there was a video of him showing him being hung.
That was probably the first Snapchats.
That spawned Snapchat?
Yeah. I'd watch it.
Was he really that bad of a guy? Do we know for sure? Because it's all propaganda, right? We're being told whatever.
That's true. But like I said, I cannot stand anybody that is a shitty checker player. That if you can't play checkers and lose like a man, then you should be hung.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Saddam Hussein aside, I agree. If I apply that to anyone that acts that way, I agree.
And his beard was stupid.
65 miners become trapped underground after an explosion in a mine in Nueva Rosita, Mexico. There were no survivors. Good year for the roses, bad year for miners.
65. 2 mining accidents in 1 year. Global frequency.
Oh, boy. I tell you what. Yeah, trying to shut down the mining industry.
But I think to myself, okay, a bunch of guys, what it was is the first ones got out.
Yeah.
They
made a mockery of the global frequency's attempt at stopping mining.
And so then the global frequency says, you know what? I'll take 65 of you Puerto Rican bastards out.
Yeah. And let's be honest. They are all bastards. President Bush acknowledged secret CIA prisons around the world outside of U.S. legal jurisdiction.
Why do you tell people? Why even talk about it? They're secret. Leave them a secret.
Places that we like.
Is he trying to show off? Like, yep, you know what?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it?
We got prisons all over everywhere.
So what? What are you gonna
Oscar's in one, and nobody's gonna do anything about it.
We don't have the population of China. We don't have the population of India, but we have more money in our military than anyone. We're gonna put prisons wherever we want, even outside of our embassy areas.
Okay. Guess what? We're gonna do a podcast about prisons all over the world.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Bush. A lot of times these politicians and these presidents and they talk about stuff that doesn't matter. I don't care. I didn't know about your secret prisons. There's no reason to tell me about your secret prisons.
Who's populating these secret prisons?
Me and the wife are going to take a trip next month, and we're going to go to the prison in Baghdad. Who the fuck cares?
Do you think that's what Bush's intent was? Is to create tourist hotspots?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This next one, it's the last popular event from that year, and honestly, this is a real downer for me. Pluto is downgraded from a planet to a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union.
All our lives.
Whoops.
All our lives. Pluto is a planet. Pluto is a planet. Oh, you got to remember all the planets' names. You got to remember this.
You got Mercury, right?
Venus, Uranus,
well, Earth. Let's do an order.
Earth,
Mars,
Saturn, Jupiter,
Pluto. Yeah, Jupiter, Saturn, then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Those are the 9.
Right. Okay. So, hey guys, today we've decided that Pluto is it's just a dwarf planet. It's not.
What has changed?
What? It's the
Why
same,
now?
It's the same size as it was when you discovered it.
You know what? If you leave my house for a week, sit, and you come back, there's going to be a layer of dust on everything. Arguably, Pluto is bigger than it was back then from all the dust accumulated.
Exactly. And stuff had to have ran into it and like stuck on it.
Sure. Yeah. It bounces off
Stuck on
Jupiter,
me.
stick to you.
Yeah.
Stuck on me, starring Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear.
And then
That is so infuriating to me. I've been taught one thing my whole life, and they said, oh, you know what? That's not the thing that's the thing anymore. F your face. F all your faces.
if it had blown up, that's one thing. If it had a huge explosion and half of it fell off or a quarter of it fell off, and now it's not the size of a planet.
Nothing happened to it. It's the same International Astronomical Union.
It's because they have nothing else to do. They have nothing else to do. They're not watching these pilots.
Can you imagine all of the paperwork that you'd have to do? It would keep a team of 10 men busy for 10 years to change from a planet to a dwarf planet. They're just creating work on themselves. It's like the city sending people out to work on the roads that don't need work.
Now, what I think is, you hear the commercial on the radio and on TV. Give the gift of a star. Name a star after somebody.
How do we know it's going to be a star tomorrow?
Yeah.
How do we know?
Tomorrow, all of the third quadrant stars are now just specks of light.
Oh, my God. I'm losing my mind. Okay.
Let's move
on. Why did we choose... Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm still coming down. Why did we choose Korgoth of Barbaria?
3 simple reasons and a phantom. Okay, these won't change. These are never going to change.
We're not. Yeah.
When we're on season 47, episode 6, it's still going to be the same.
We're not going to come back to you and be like, oh, you know all those rules that you loved for years? We're throwing them into the waste bin.
First is it was a failed pilot that never went to series.
One episode only.
One episode only.
That's all you get.
Checkmate. Okay. 2, we could find it on the internet for free. That's 2 things right there.
Yeah.
It was available and it was free.
That's right.
Never going to change.
That's exactly right.
Oh, we found one. It only cost us $3. No.
I'll pass. Do I look like I'm made out of $3?
No, I'm not. I'm not even made out of a $3 bill. And the Phantom it was in the aughts.
Exactly right. So
maybe we drink too much soda on the first episode we record, and it gets us all hyped up.
I'm fine.
Or maybe
with
it's just the lies of the government and astronauts everywhere.
That could
Fuck
be.
Buzz Aldrin.
He walked on the moon's face.
Yeah, no, he didn't. It didn't really happen.
You don't think
We've
so?
never
Wow.
walked on the moon.
That's a different show altogether. You can find the entire episode of Korgoth of Barbaria by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube and search Korgoth of Barbaria. It's Korgoth of Barbaria.
BRA. They also have an HD version. If you want to get technical, you can look it up for HD.
Where's that?
It's on YouTube.
Okay. Well, our classically blue links in our show notes will take you there. Sure. Subscribe to Couch Pilots, absolutely, and you'll get the inside scoop on everything. You'll see what we're watching this week, and then you're going to see what we're watching next week, and you can be on the inside tip. Mm-hmm. It's a simple subscription. Boom.
Yeah, just click subscribe. Everything else is done for you in life.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Now see,
the bass just sounds good.
The bass sounds good. There's John down there. You see him?
Okay. All right.
He's got some crutches for some reason.
He's got he's got the mumps from 1932. He's got
those braces,
the bandage around his head.
Yeah. Now he'll be fine.
Okay.
He's a trooper. He's had to deal with a lot more in his life than just that.
Sure has.
From
your ears to God's mouth.
Whoops. Summary of the pilot. An animated parody of the sword and sorcery genre and follows the exploits of the most feared and physically awesome barbarian the world has ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Tough as nails.
Tough as mother.
This guy is tough as nails.
This guy is about ready to beat everybody up.
Hold on a second. I got the burps.
With axe in hand.
Korgoth of Barbaria.
Ooh.
Whoops.
Nice.
Pardon me. How embarrassing.
For you guys that are first-time listeners, Jason doesn't always belch.
The name of the show?
Huh?
I don't always belch the name of the show like I just did.
Oh.
Did you
hear
me?
Say you don't always belch. I know I heard you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we're kind of like unclassing it up here.
Well, that's the name of the game, right?
Unclassing it up?
Some of the things that come out of your mouth.
What? Name one thing that's come out of my mouth that's not classy.
I was listening to an episode recently where you were talking about like vaginas hitting a windshield. I mean, do we need any more? Do I need to name any more?
One more.
Nope, you're right.
Exactly.
Okay. And we like to have a lot of fun, obviously.
Sure, but let's
serious it up. This is a section called Interesting Facts.
Oh gosh.
There's a lot of great info out there. I'm going to give it to you.
Sorry about last week.
Whatever. I'm sick of playing that game with you. I'm sick of saying, "Oh, it's no problem, man. It's cool," but it's not cool.
When have you ever said, "It's no problem, man. It's cool"?
I'm saying it now.
You don't even talk like that.
I am now.
Okay.
From this point forward, I will talk like that. These are facts unsullied from the debauchery in this world. These are pure as the driven snow, constant as the northern star.
Virgin Mary.
Yeah. These facts are not unlike the Virgin Mary. These facts will reproduce without any sexual intercourse, and it is not up for you to decide if they're interesting, if they're, ooh, I like that fact. Shut the hell up. This fact exists. End of story.
It exists because, you know what? It's a planet.
Yeah. The end. So let's get into it. Korgoth of Barbaria is a pilot episode for what was originally planned as an American animated television series created by Aaron Springer, storyboard artist, writer, and director for Dexter's Laboratory, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Samurai Jack, and SpongeBob SquarePants. It was first aired in the United States on June 3rd, 2006 at 12:30 a.m. on Adult Swim. On June 18, 2006, Adult Swim ran a bumper announcing that Korgoth of Barbaria was officially picked up as a series because of its critical and commercial success with garnering high ratings. Later events, including a formal petition to revive the show, would indicate that it was dropped before production began due to high production costs. A lot of info there.
A lot of info. Just take a deep breath.
Take it in, process it, shut your damn mouth.
Don't exhale. Shut your damn mouth.
Do not exhale. Leave that in.
Exhale through your teardrops.
That's right. Push it right out of your skull. As of Comic-Con 2006, the show was scheduled to release sometime in spring of 2007. However, as of December 29th, 2007, the only mention of the show on the Adult Swim website is an intro graphic with the words, "You couldn't handle more than one anyway." There are a bunch of smartasses over there at Adult Swim. Adult Swim re-aired the pilot episode on Halloween night, October 31st, 2008, as part of an advertised Halloween stunt night where rarely seen programs such as the Welcome to Eltingville and Boo Boo Runs Wild were aired, both of which I made notes of for possible future shows, rather than the usual programming lineup for a Friday evening.
Because nobody's going to be in the house.
This is like saying
Halloween parties,
and I really hate to open the book on Mason Reese, but
you might as well open it. I mean,
I never do it. I'm going to do it right now. That show I remember was aired on like the 4th of July when no one would be watching. So you put things on where people aren't going to watch as a way to get rid of it or fill like a contract.
Yep.
And
let's close the door.
And with that, we closed the door, and also a book on Mason Reese. In November of 2010, Adult Swim ran a bumper listing shows that were not picked up and brief reasons why. Korgoth was listed with the explanation, "too expensive." Adult Swim re-aired the pilot, tested as a surprise on November 3rd, 2013, as part of their Toonami block. The heavy metal, thrash metal music, the theme was composed by Lee Holdridge, a person who exists.
Oh, I thought I
have no more information
expecting
on him. No.
the lead singer of Striper.
No, I do not. Striper. Is that the Christian metal band?
To hell with the devil.
Wow, they really had a lot to say. This is great. This is great here. On October 27th, 2009, that's my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
That was on my 28th birthday. Adult Swim and distributor Warner Home Video released Adult Swim in a Box, a DVD box set of a variety of different Adult Swim shows. Korgoth of Barbaria was featured on this box set on a special DVD along with Welcome to Eltingville, the pilot episode of Perfect Hair Forever, Totally Teens, and Cheyenne Cinnamon, and the Fantabulous Unicorn of Sugartown Candy Fudge, which is that sounds terrible.
Yeah. It's like, let's just all the things that make you want to vomit.
They're just jacking off on names is all they're doing there.
Sure.
In June 2010, the bonus DVD from the Adult Swim in a Box was made available for separate purchase on the now defunct AdultSwimShop.com.
They have, although this only was a failed pilot, I mean, Adult Swim got their money's worth out of it.
They got mileage out of this thing.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. Next segment is a new segment. That's all the interesting facts I have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Twitter responses.
This is a new segment that we have because people are noticing us. People are ready to interact with us.
And we're being proactive, too, by reaching out to people.
Sure. I mean, yeah. People are getting back to us. I mean, famous people.
Sure.
Indirectly, Bruce Springsteen.
Right. Essentially, we are best friends of the Bruce Springsteen. In our continued efforts to reach out to those directly involved with these projects, we extended the Couch Pilot's wings to Korgoth himself, Diedrich Bader. You might know Diedrich Bader as the star, or one of the stars of the Drew Carey Show. He was the dark-haired fellow. He was the guy who was the UPS or the Drew Carey Show's version of UPS driver.
Okay.
So he had four main members. He had the girl, you had Drew Carey, the tall, skinny guy, Ryan Stiles, and then he had Diedrich Bader.
Okay.
He's very funny. He was also like the karate guy in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
I actually really liked the Drew Carey Show and that, so I was very happy to reach out to Diedrich Bader. Whoops. And he had this to say. Loved that show, real hardcore. Oh, and he was not kidding. Big shout out to Diedrich Bader. Thank you so much. It wasn't a lot, but he liked a few of our tweets too, so that helps.
Sure.
Gets people looking in the Couch Pilot's direction.
Every little bit helps. And, to me, we're getting into we're toward the end of the aughts. The people that were associated with the shows that you're watching are still relevant and active on social medias.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
We go back to Baffled. Leonard Nimoy, probably not going to tweet us back.
I mean,
is he dead?
I
always forget he's dead.
Mainly for that reason, he wouldn't get back to us.
They just put a new Star Trek movie out. I thought sure he was alive.
You think he came back for that?
He's in it, isn't he? I saw the poster. It looks just like him.
Zachary Quinto is the new Spock.
There is only one Spock.
Zachary Quinto.
Yep.
Is that what? It was the third Star Trek movie?
I don't know.
Into Darkness, and this one is something else.
I don't know. I'm just surprised that
Fantastic Voyage.
How much they paid the Beastie Boys to use sabotage on both movies.
What do you mean both movies? I know they have it in the trailer for this.
It's in this movie, but it was also in the last one.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
In the last Star Trek?
Mm-hmm.
2 Star Trek movies in a row, and they use sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
How much sabotage can the USS Enterprise go under?
Hey, listen.
Up y'all?
It's sabotage. All right. It's a high energy. It's a high energy song. Anyway, let's get back to the brass tacks.
All right, let's get all
Twitter. Twitter, follow us at CouchPilotsPod.
Yep.
On Twitter, interact with us.
Yep.
We will maybe even put you on the show.
Yeah, maybe so. And let's take a quick break. Right?
Okay.
You want to?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, who are we listening to today? Sex with Heather.
Sure.
Great show.
It can be exciting to start new relationships. The ins and outs of getting to know each other, the inside jokes you create, and the frank and honest conversations about anything and everything. I, Heather, am beginning a new relationship with Heather, a Kaluna shrub that grows in Europe and Asia Minor. She's a wildflower with a roaming spirit and a tough exterior. I thought, what better way to get to know my new shrubbery than to discuss the ins and outs of sex? We'll be taking a look at each other and laughing about how funny scrotums look, peppering it with facts and friendship. Sex with Heather will be coming on Wednesdays, only at fcfnetwork.com.
Ah, yeah. You know what? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the great mood I'm in. Maybe it's all the caffeine I've had.
Yeah.
Everything's sounding great through these beats. Never before have I felt the groove of that back track.
Everybody will be dancing and will be doing it right.
This is like doom, 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 doom. It's just I felt it. I felt every second of it. And all these bumpers that we're playing tonight, they just sound rich and full. We are on our way to podcast just global domination.
You need to put away some of that soda. Thank you, Daft Punk. Thank you, Sex with Heather, for being part of the
yes,
FCF
and Daft
network.
Punk, you can't do anything because it was less than 13 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
In your face!
Big shout out to Heather and the show that she is steering, or Ram's Head? Is that what I was saying?
Ram's heading?
Ram's Bottom.
Apple bottom jeans. Boots with a fur.
Check out FCF Network's very own Sex with Heather. The podcast is taking the world by storm. You want to talk about sex? Who doesn't? She'll do it, and she'll do it right to your face in conversational format, and it's not too clinical. It's not too crude. It's that sweet
Oh, yeah.
spot.
I mean, it's not just raunchiness.
No, not for the sake of raunchiness.
It's
no
classy.
way.
It's classy.
Totally. So let's break down the pilot of Korgoth of Barbaria.
Let's break it down for me,
Ugh,
fellas.
excuse me.
First of all, it is for mature audiences only.
You're ready to show it to that boy.
I was ready to show it to Eli. I was like, ooh, a cartoon. And I'm glad I didn't because instantly there is a little troll guy out there in front of the bar. And there's a big group of
Ruffians.
Ruffians, one with a hook.
Yeah.
And they went in, and he's like, hey, there's a cover charge. And like, there's never been a cover charge before. Why is there a cover charge? Because we have to get the sign for the bar remade. And it says the whore's nipple.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be called,
He's like, well, what's wrong with the sign? How's it misspelled?
it's supposed to be the dragon's kneecap.
Yeah. So that's wildly different and inappropriate for a child. You don't want a child to say the word nipple or whore.
Nipple you can.
Yeah, and of course in an extremely narrow context.
Whore?
No, nipple.
Oh, okay. I thought we went from,
If
okay.
a kid just went nipple crazy, I'd be like, come on, cut back on the nipples,
Sure,
please.
sure.
Anyway, so you got these ruffians roaming the street. They're at the wrong bar. He tells them where to go. They go there, and this is not computer animated. This is hand drawn.
Sure.
And that's how I like my cartoons.
Oh, that's the way you like your cartoons, hand-drawn. Mm-hmm.
Everyone in this is a very specific style that they're using, and it does call back to shows like, talks about this being a parody of Sword and Sorcery, and something like, heavy metal, that kind of stuff. Everyone is ugly and dirty and rotting, and just everyone is gross looking.
Sure,
and
there's
disgusting.
there's no uniformity to faces. Like normally you would see a bunch of people in a bar. They would at least look like this. Not the same.
They just kind of bleed into the background.
Yeah, these are all have very distinctively disgusting mutant faces.
Yeah, this is probably in the 1600s maybe.
Sure.
And they just all in a medieval time. Everyone's wearing like leather boots and got swords and axes on their back.
Just like a piece of leather over their junk. And that's it.
Yep, that's right. They
Furs.
They're sitting down and they're looking around the bar. They're like, where is it? And then so you're thinking they're looking for someone or something, and they see a man taking just the piss of a lifetime in a trough.
Yeah, he is peeing a lot and just peeing. And again, there's no bathroom. There's no transgender bathroom.
No, not in the perfect utopia we've created.
No, it's just a hollowed out log in the middle of the bar.
In the middle of the bar, he's taking a massive piss.
And when I say massive piss, it's a massive piss.
Yeah.
It's like 45 minutes long. Like this show is only 22 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Per 17 of it, he's peeing.
He is pissing the show away.
Pissing the night away.
You take a pissy drink, you take a whizzy drink. There's a little dude there holding a sponge to clean his penis when he's done.
Yep.
It doesn't show that.
No.
It's not that graphic, but it's a pretty graphic show.
Oh, this is a very graphic show.
And then the camera kind of pans down from the top of his head, and you get to see kind of his face, and then boom, they go into this mythic opening where a man is kind of weaving a tale of darkness and a hero that rises, and then it's thrashing metal. Just that kind of epic metal.
There's heavy metal music. There's blood. There's
monsters.
Fighting. There's half-naked chicks. There's
sex, booze.
There is a part where Korgoth is eating out a woman who turns into a monster.
Was that what he's doing to her?
Yeah, he was going down on her, eating her, munching her grindage, and he looks up, and it becomes a mutant big head, monster head, and then he kills it. I think he goes back to eating it.
Is that what Pauly Shore said
Munching on some grindage? Yes.
Is that what he would say?
Yes. I come from a household where Pauly Shore was a staple in our home.
How would he say juice?
Oh, we said the juice, buddy. Ow!
I guess it looked like he was making love to her, but he may have well been mouth humping her.
He was open mouth humping her.
And yeah, you're right. She was a beautiful woman that turned into a big monster head. Yeah, he cut off the top part of her head and killed her. And he may have gone back down. I don't know.
Second wife.
And so this is just massive. It really sets the tone for everything because it's so in your face. Blood, guts, sex, booze, violence. Boom, 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 boom. It beats the hell out of you. And then goes back to the bar. The ruffians are looking for Korgoth, it turns out.
Sure. And they're like, oh, he's over there. Hey, Stink, go over and talk to him.
And Stink is a tiny little maggot of a ruffian.
Right. Like, why is he even part of this group in the first place?
Just a bunch of stupid, dirty henchmen. And yeah, they send the smallest guy over.
And so Stink goes over, and Korgoth basically just ignores him.
Yeah, he's kind of humbly, hat in hand. Hey, my boss would very much like to speak with you. And Korgoth has just got this like a 3-gallon wooden tankard of beer or ale or mead or whatever the hell it is, and he's just downing it. And as he's burping, he just gets all this mess all over this little Stink. It's fantastic. And then the leader of all these henchmen, I think his name is Hargon. He kind of says, "You know what? Step aside, Stink. I'm going to go talk to this guy." Korgoth goes up to the bar. He's like, give me 100 more beers. I want to drink all the beer in the world. And then he starts talking. He says, "Hey, my boss wants to talk to you," and he's got a hook for a hand.
And you're gonna, my boss wants to talk to you, and you're gonna go.
Yeah. And he's ignoring him. And then he knocks over his beer.
And
oh my god!
Don't never knock over a barbarian's beer.
No, you didn't.
Jeez.
And that's when shit gets cray.
Shit gets cray. A fight breaks out. He's beating everybody up in the bar.
Well, the guy with the hook, he takes his head and he smashes it on the counter, and he holds his head there. He hasn't killed him, but he's holding his head there. And the guy's eyes are almost popping out of his head. And then, the big brawl starts, and I think Korgoth just stays there the whole time, doesn't he? Holding his head down.
Yeah, but he's still beating the shit out of
everybody. Yeah. While this is all happening, he's murdering just hordes of people.
Isn't this where the one big, huge guy comes?
But right before that, he's throwing axes, chopping people's...
Oh, he's got an axe.
Yeah.
That's like his main weapon.
He's got an axe to grind.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Barbarians always have an axe to grind.
High five it. Takes the axe. Just like in last week's episode of the Global Frequency, he cuts a man directly in half. Never before have we watched 2 back-to-back episodes of something where men have been cut in half.
Right. And then he cuts that one guy to where it's just a layer of skin, so all you see is his muscles.
Well, that's the big dude you were talking about. He comes up to him with like a morning glory where it's like a stick with a chain and then a ball with spikes on it. He comes up and he starts.
And he says, "What's your story?"
Well, he's going through this thing like, "I'm going to rip you apart. I'm going to make you see the 7 layers.
Your mom's not going to know your name."
Just keeps saying all this horrible stuff. And I think he is a little bit bigger than Korgoth.
Oh, yeah, he's bigger.
But then he grabs him by his ponytail, which is the only hair that he has, and he rips a line of skin all the way down his body, throws some booze on him, and then sets him on fire, and the guy is just screaming the whole time.
At one point, he throws shoves another guy into like the waitress's breasts.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just so big. And he's like, and this is the first glimpse.
Oh, here we go.
Of Tete.
Oh, absolutely. There are some big fat breasticles in this. Not fully exposed, but we know what's going on.
Right. We're men.
So he dispatches a man by throwing him into some boobs. He dispatches another one by throwing him into like a mounted boar's head on the wall. He is impaled by both of the tusks. This is
just violence.
Awesome. Violence.
Awesome cartoon violence.
Yes. Oh my God. So he goes back to the guy who's head squashed, and he's like, "Hey, this is what's going on. I want you to see my boss." And so he says, "Okay, I'll go."
Yeah. Now that I've killed everybody, sure.
Yeah.
Isn't this where the screaming montage starts?
The screaming montage. Who's screaming?
Just everybody. I thought maybe it's when they start going.
I think you're right. I think when they go on
the
quest.
There's when they start the quest to get to the boss, there's just like a screaming montage of like all the stuff he kills on the way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But before that, they go to the boss of all these henchmen, and he's just this fat little shit.
Oh wait, before we get there, we have to talk about the half-naked girl with the big, huge nipples.
That's this part.
Okay.
That is this part. Like they go to see him. But while they're going there, they kind of show this fat little guy. He's like a little brown fat guy.
Like
with
a Buddha. Like a
like a
gross,
little Buddha.
gross
Perfect.
Buddha.
That's exactly right.
Of course it is.
Gross Buddha. And he's got like a woman in a cage in like tattered clothing, and she's got like these THOs, as we used to call them, titty hard-ons. And the clothes are just kind of like hanging off of her.
Often, yeah.
That's the only way they're staying up is her nipples are hard. And
it's very like it's
very sexual.
Yeah, I mean she's a sex slave, and it's it's fine.
And he's trying to like touch her, and she's like trying to bite him, and
Right.
I think
he likes that. He likes that.
Didn't he throw a bunch of beer on her or
Yeah.
something?
And hey, if I'm trying to touch a woman
Yeah.
and they don't want me to,
Yeah.
and I'll throw beer on it too.
Yeah, douse him. So
like-
give him a good soaking.
Good soaking a Mountain Dew.
They get there, and they see him. He's like, hey, I know you. You're a Gog Magog.
Yeah, Gog Magog, the Baron of Thieves.
That's right. And he's sitting there, and they're saying, hey, why don't you sit down and have a bunch of food? And so they're all feasting together, and
Sure.
he's telling them, hey, there's this wizard. Have you heard of him? His name is Specules.
Yeah,
And
Specules has got the Golden Goblin.
he lives in a floating castle.
Who would not want to live in a floating
Oh,
castle?
my God. Sign me
Don't
up.
give me a castle with a moat.
No,
what's
thanks.
What's that going to do? Give
Yeah.
me one that floats.
Sure.
It's harder
Yeah.
than hell to get to.
They're sitting there eating. Korgoth doesn't care about what he's saying. He's just eating all this shit. He's like, thank you. I'm eating all this food. This is fantastic. He says, this wizard comes out, and he's on his balcony every night for like 45 minutes. I got this little seeing stone. It's kind of
Right.
like a camera. I can see what's going on there. He's not coming out lately. I think he's dead.
Right.
Thank God. I think this guy's dead. He's got a mountain of treasure in there. Go get me that treasure.
Yeah, and I want that goblin.
Of course, yeah, give me the little golden goblin. Korgoth's like, the hell with you, man. Why would I go do that? And he's like, well, because you just ate some poison,
Yeah.
some like stomach virus or bacteria. I just fed you, and the only way to get the antidote is by doing this for me.
Right. You want to get rid of the AIDS? Stomach AIDS?
Stomach aids?
You better do this for me.
I've heard of lemonade, but stomach aids?
Oh, 10 times better tasting.
Korgoth tasting. Korgoth takes 12 of his henchmen, of Gog Magog's henchmen, and this is the scene where you're talking about. They're running through ice and snow, exploding.
It's a heavy metal montage.
Right. Things are exploding. There's a man. There's a woman tied to a tree. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was ahead of myself. But there's supposedly a woman tied to a tree, and they go over like,
A couple of the henchmen are like, hey,
we're gonna fuck this girl.
Yeah.
And I come to find out, the tree turns around. It's just a ruse, and it's this like monster tree.
She was bait.
How many times has that happened in your life?
And when we're stupid, it's like a cartoon character smelling a pie and just drifting through the air to that windowsill.
It's bad news. Every time it's bad news. They're like going through like these swamps, and they come up and they're just pulling leeches.
Yeah, they're losing.
Korgoth
They're
is
losing a guy like in every scene to some horrible death. The tree eats that guy. Like limbs and guts and chunks are flying everywhere. Korgoth sees it. He comes at it with his axe again. His mighty axe, chops the tree in half, and he saves this woman. And it's funny because in the next scene, they're all sitting around a campfire, and the woman's kind of in the corner, like huddled over.
Yeah, she's all scared and she's wet, and she's got a blanket around her.
And they're keeping a fire going. They're trying to get everyone warm, and they're kind of settling down for the night. And the logs they're throwing in are parts of that monster, and they still got like mouth and face on it.
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty great. And then Korgoth, he saves that chained up woman, and then she is very much down to clown, and then he beats up the judge.
Yeah, he goes back in the bushes and fucks the hell out of her.
He does, and it doesn't show it, but it shows the bushes moving wildly.
Yes. And he's a very big man, and she was a very little woman, so I'm sure there's so many different positions they could have done with ease.
He probably
and he was so strong.
ripped her open.
He had to, but he was so strong. Like you know how it is.
Yeah,
where once in a while you have a girl,
right,
and she's a petite,
sure,
and you can just do all
manhandle her,
not in a physical like,
but in a way that she likes.
Oh yeah, but just like you could like put her up on the wall and
I've been there,
spin her around
like a helicopter.
Helicopter.
I love the noises too. It's like like you hear his sexual noises.
That's the way I sound when I have sex. I'm telling you,
it's true to life. If nothing else, this show is true to life. They make it to the floating castle, and they say to themselves, "How are we going to get up there?"
Yeah, how are we going to get up there?
So they kind of scale down this wall, and there's all these massive birds down there.
They're
So
huge pigeons, basically.
Korgoth he's a terrible leader. He's not telling anyone what to do.
No,
They're like, "What are you doing, man?" He starts kneeling over and covering himself with bird shit.
Yeah, and so, like I said, these birds are huge, so there's like a glops and glops of...
You know how birds are. They crap everywhere.
Yeah. Like I'll come in your truck that one time.
Thank you. One of the henchmen says, "You know what? My uncle, I come from a long line of these bird handlers. You don't need to cover yourself in crap. It's ridiculous." He goes over. He says, "Hey, you dumb bird.
Right.
You're going to take me..." Boom. He eats him up. Just rips the guy to shreds.
So
Everyone else immediately covers himself with
just
crap.
okay. So Korgoth goes up to one of the birds. It looks down at him. It's about to attack him. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're covered in shit. Go ahead and climb on my back.
Yeah. That's. I mean, if I saw another thing covered in my feces, my first response would be, "There's a spot right here on my shoulder for you." And such was the case with these massive pigeons. So the pigeons all take flight, taking the rest of the henchmen and that chained up woman. She's still hanging around him. They all take flight to the floating castle. They get there. They get down. They go in, and this is I thought was funny too. They open the door, and there's all this mail on the ground, like he's been gone for a while or dead or something. And so he sees all the mail, and they don't even really acknowledge it. They see it, and he just kind of kicks it over.
And there's treasures galore, and all the henchmen kind of go after all this treasure. And Korgoth starts walking around. Gets to this door that says "Do not enter."
Yeah.
Which, of course, you enter.
You got to break the rules.
If I see a door that says "Do not enter," first thing I'm doing is going into that door. It should have said, "Come on in. You're welcome." I would have went to the next door.
Yeah. Or door broken. I wouldn't even try it then.
Oh yeah, out of order. Because if this is out of order, I'm not messing with it.
Or if women's restroom, I'm not going to go in there. You might. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Depends on what kind of outfit I'm wearing.
Korgoth is drawn to the glowing light of that tower, so he makes his way up there while the rest of the henchmen that are still alive are going through all the treasure. Mm-hmm. So they're doing that. Meanwhile, Specules, the wizard who owns the castle, returns home from what seems to be a vacation, and he is pissed off.
Yeah, and it's completely not anywhere near the type of wizard I was expecting. He's old and scrawny, and you can see
I like him.
Well, I'm not saying I like him, but when you think of a wizard, you think of
kind of a lot of triangles and triangle hat, blue stars on
big
on
long
the robe.
beard, just more powerful.
A big like
staff infection.
Big staff infection. Yeah, I tell you, they can grant wishes and create things, but I'll be damned if they can't cure a staph infection. So he gets home and he's like,
"What the fuck's going on here?
What is the meaning of all this?"
Yeah.
And then he says, "I thought you were dead. We're taking all this treasure." He says, "All right, well, I'm just going to kill all you." So he puts on his glasses, his spectacles,
sure.
Specules' spectacles. They're pink little glasses, and he starts shooting rays into people's foreheads, and it like takes over their mind.
Right.
One guy goes to the edge of the balcony and jumps off, commits suicide. The two other guys start stabbing each other in the chest and head repeatedly.
And then two other guys start making out.
Now, one of the guys who made out was Hargon, which is like the main henchman that they are like keeping alive.
The hook.
Yeah.
The hook.
Yeah,
Right?
the guy with the hook. That's right. So he starts making out with some other dude, and he seems pretty satisfied with that. And he walks upstairs, to where he finds Korgoth up there holding his golden goblin.
Right. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the golden goblin starts dancing like you remember those.
The Macarena?
No, the little toys that you push the button and they would just dance back and forth and they would sing
Yeah.
different songs. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, like Billy Big Mouth Bass.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you're saying. So he sees that and he's like, "Hey, why are you? What is happening? Why are you in here doing this?"
Right. I've had a bad vacation. I didn't get hooked up with anybody.
Yep.
You know.
So he throws a piece of gum in his mouth. He chews it, and it turns into like some like 50-eyed boar, like wild boar bull monster.
Yeah,
it's a big bubblegum monster.
Yeah, and so he has to fight Korgoth, obviously, you know, and it like when it swallows him up, and then he rips its jaws off and comes out of it.
Yep, he comes out from inside it,
and it morphs. And as this fight continues, it morphs into multiple things, you know. But he like I said, Korgoth is chopping limbs off with his axe.
He's keeping busy.
His trusty axe. I wonder if you would have put a red and black flannel on him and a beard.
Barbarian. Not bad.
I want my little barbarian. I want the bum.
You said the bubblegum thing keeps morphing. What's
yeah,
that?
his stomach virus is acting up on him.
Yeah, it's getting
During
bubble
the fight.
guts. Like you said, the creature continues to morph, the bubblegum creature, probably most notably into a giant, fat, pink woman with big nipples hanging out.
Well, I think there's like 6 nipples.
Yeah.
It's totally disgusting. He's like, yeah.
She grabs him and like licks him. And he's like, what do you say to you? I've dated uglier women for breakfast or something like that. And then after she licks him, he puts his mouth on hers and like blows her up like a piece of bubblegum until she explodes.
Right, and the whole time the wizard is like stroking the goblin like a penis.
And it's about the size of like an Oscar or something. And
Sure.
he is beating off that gold trophy.
And then all of a sudden during this fight, that girl that they saved that he fucked in the bushes,
Right.
walks in. Obviously she's like drunk or something, and she's like, "Hey, have you ever done it in someone else's kitchen? Guess what? Your head gets chopped off."
Yeah, she gets zapped in the head by one of his
She's
rays.
just a whore.
Yeah, for sure. Just a random Viking whore. She shoots him. Speculally shoots her in the head, and her head explodes, and she falls over.
And he's like, "Oh," did he say something like "oops" or something like that?
Yeah, the Korgoth sees it, and he's like, "What did you just do to me?
Yeah,
that was my hole.
That was my piece of ass, and now now you've done it."
And then Specules is like, "Oh crap!
I'm fucking out of here."
He's like, "Hey man, just relax. That was an accident." And he goes over to him, and he shoves like a tiny, like a little candelabra in his eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
He shoves it in his eyes, and Specules like falls over, but then he turns into the woman somehow. Like his head is on her body.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
And then he flies away. Specules flies out to become.
And isn't it like always like a wizard to just take off in the middle of a situation?
Finish what
like,
you started,
like,
my man.
Why don't you guys talk it out?
Hash it out like bros.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
That's the way you always started off. When me and you fight, which is basically every day.
Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs. Text messages, capital letters, all
But
the time.
how do we always resolve it, though? We look at each other.
We start, "Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Love you.
I love you, too." Squashed. High five it.
If
Korgoth.
only our relationships with the opposite sex were as good as our relationship together.
Fair enough. Korgoth then delivers the Golden Goblin and takes his stomach prescription home with him.
In there's like 7,000 bottles that he's just pulling in a cart.
He's like, "Here's your medicine. You will need to take it for like a year." And then he gives him like this big cart full of all these glass bottles. And he walks away with it. Goes to credits. He basically said, next, this is one of his many adventures. On to the next one. The same guy that was doing the opening credits. And then the ending credits, you got Korgoth sitting on a log taking a massive shit.
Yeah, the log is hollowed out. He's taking a shit, and there's all kinds of basically flies buzzing around, and he's just reading the paper.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know they had a paper back then.
Just another day in the life of Korgoth the Barbarian.
Do you think, and we got a few minutes, we can discuss this if you don't mind me putting it on the table, Jason the Barbarian, Blake the Barbarian.
As shows?
No, just as barbarians. Like, how would our lives be different than they are right now?
Well, I mean, knowing what I know about myself, I would be instantly...
Do you know a lot about yourself?
No. I would be instantly killed.
Why?
Because I'm not a man who goes into the woods and
You're not
chops
a manly
trees
man?
down. No, I'm not a manly man.
Me neither.
I'm not watching NASCAR. I'm not,
I
shooting
listen to
guns.
NASCAR on the radio.
I'm aware of it. I know that...
Do you think NASCAR is quintessential for a barbarian?
I just feel like the modern day equivalent.
When was
of
the
a
last time
barbarian.
you spit on the ground?
Yeah, it's yesterday or today.
Did you?
Yeah, I had something in my mouth.
Okay. I don't see you spitting very often. Your daughter spits.
She does a little bit.
Yeah.
She
I think
might
she was,
be gay.
She was trying. I think she was trying to get into the spirit of.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Camping.
She was trying to get in the spirit. She's not gay. I don't think I'd fare very well. How would you fare? Because I mean, you just mentioned you're out camping, so you're more of an outdoorsman than I am.
Yeah, I am an outdoorsman. I can make a fire, a good fire.
Out of what? What do you use?
A fire starter and cardboard and a lighter.
See, now that is you have to use like the sun's infrared rays.
No, then I can't do that. But I think I pretend to be more manly than I am. I think I'm an emotional mess.
Sure.
I have feelings and stuff.
Gay.
Super, super gay. If I didn't like vagina, guess what?
Gay.
I would be gay.
Yeah, I mean it's usually one or the other,
Or both.
or neither. Like Janine Garofalo is asexual. You know that?
Huh. Has she said that?
I think it's noted. I think she's a notable asexual.
And that means you don't care or you don't want either one of them?
I think both. She's not like. I
Doesn't
think
need
she's
it.
got a longtime boyfriend, but she just is like. There's no sex. It's just like
Hey, we're buddies.
they coexist.
They say, hey, buddy.
She probably looks at her mate and says, "Hey, buddy."
I don't think I'd make a good barbarian. Although I have a broken nose.
That'll do it.
A crooked nose. It makes me look more manly. Like, bro, I've been in many, many battles.
I guess. Well, let's get in a little turbulence.
Okay. Turbulence.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Why does it sound so good tonight?
This is your equipment. You hook it up. I don't know. I feel like sometimes you're like, oh, I gotta keep track of exactly how I hooked it up because when I hook it up this way, everything works. How did you hook it up tonight?
Same way I always do.
Well, I don't know then.
But tomorrow I have a big, huge deal that I have to hook it all up a different way.
You do got a big thing going on tomorrow. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
Why didn't this show work? Why didn't Korgoth of Barbaria work?
I don't know. Well, again, hand-drawn is more expensive than the computer animation. But really, it's classic Adult Swim. We've talked about since we started watching the shows in the 70s. We've referenced if this was on Adult Swim, this would have made it.
Sure.
This is the first one we've been like, hey, this is on Adult Swim.
Yeah, and it
didn't make it.
Well, it was 22 minutes. So what's the? I mean, are we talking about? Should it have been 12 minutes?
No. I am steadfast that 22 minutes, even for a cartoon.
Okay,
I'm steadfast.
Well, I mean, a lot of cartoons, even way back when we were growing up, they'd be, oh, you know what? This show's coming on, but it's 2 episodes in 1/2 hour
That's true.
piece. You know,
That's
like
true.
even like SpongeBob is still that way.
It's true.
So in 22 minutes could they support 2 episodes, or what is the proper time? 22 minutes.
I think with this type of show where there's a storyline, there's a lot of shows, a lot of those 15-minute shows, there's not even really a storyline. It's just
Okay.
So for me, why it didn't work, Turbulence, it fit perfectly. The art was good. I thought the art was
Yeah,
good.
me too.
Titties were perfect.
Love titties, hand drawn titties.
I never met a pair of titties I didn't like. That's the only thing I can think of is just the economics of it.
Well, it came out a couple times, even to their audience said, "Hey, it's too expensive." And I don't know. I guess
How expensive is it?
I mean,
how expensive is it to?
when they say Barbaria, and Adult Swim's got a lot of ties to Hanna-Barbera, so I think it was kind of a play on the word Barbara, maybe, and barbarian.
Kind of a Conan thing too.
Yeah. So I feel like I was never a Hanna-Barbera guy growing up.
I know you. I know if I know anything about you,
Yeah.
and there's very little that I know about you.
Right. I'm a bit of a mystery wrapped in special formula covered in secret sauce.
Sure, but I know that you are not a fan of Hanna-Barbera.
No,
So.
they suck. Warner Brothers all the way. And to me, a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff was extremely cheap and inexpensive to do. So, a lot of the stuff was just like the crappy background that repeats, just poor animation. Korgoth of Barbaria, I would imagine, and I should have probably looked into this a little more, but I assume it was Hanna-Barbera related, and I can't imagine it costing so much. I mean, my mind immediately went to, was Diedrich Bader costs a lot of money, but how that voice would be so easy to replicate. Like he's got a great voice for that kind of thing.
Sure.
It really did well, but you could find another guy to do a voice on the cheap, but maybe that wasn't what was expensive about it.
And I'm going to open the book and then close it really quick
On who?
on Chris Hardwick.
Okay.
But he recently had Paul
Dano?
Dini, the comic book writer, animator.
I don't know.
But he did the Batman.
The Killing Joke? That one that just came out with the Joker?
No. This was the Batman the Animated Series.
He did what for? He was the animator for it?
He was the writer.
The acclaimed Fox series from the early mid-90s.
Right.
Yes.
But he talked about a lot of the time that he spent in cartooning and Saturday morning cartooning, and how there was an era where it was done on the cheap, and how they really skimped on a lot of stuff. So, I mean, it's a very good interview. I'll close the book on Chris Hardwick.
That's fine.
He makes way too much money.
The Adult Swim, I feel like they churn stuff out. I think it's William Street is one of their big studios over there. They can really churn it out. And something like Squidbillies cannot cost a ton of money
No.
to make. It's not like the greatest animation. There's a lot of funny stuff. I think they invest most of their stuff in their writing because a lot of it's pretty funny.
Sure.
Wild ideas. I can't imagine the
I think
animation being so expensive.
Like on Adult Swim, I think even the writing is more important than the artwork.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's fun to watch those and say, oh, I saw this show back then. I see this show now. There are art similarities. I think similar people. That shows have an identity through their style of art for sure. And a lot of those go hand in hand with someone's love for the show is the style of art that they use. But you're right. I think more often than not, the writing is more important. So, I don't know, to make a great show like that work, like Korgoth of Barbaria, why not skimp on something to get it out there?
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you do to improve it? Less titties?
No, I can't. I mean, it's a cartoon.
Right.
It's not meant to boggle your mind. It's not meant to make you look inside yourself.
It's just
it's
22
eye
minutes of fun.
candy.
Yeah.
It's eye candy and fun.
Whoops.
That's why I like Clarence. I love that cartoon.
Clarence?
Clarence.
What's that?
It's a cartoon.
I don't know what that is. Is it new?
Fairly new.
What is it about?
It's a half retarded kid named Clarence.
No, I've never seen it.
You need to watch it.
If it had survived, this is just one of those things where week after week he goes on crazy missions,
Sure.
effing broads, cutting people in half, slicing and dicing. It's ultra sexy, ultra violent, and it's over the top fun is what it is.
Yep.
So that's what I would like to see if it survived. That's what I'd like to see.
I would have liked it to have survived instead of being chopped up like.
One of his victims.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
You have to admit
I'll admit it.
that we
Oh.
oftentimes can finish these other sentences.
Mm-hmm.
You have to admit that in some ways, besides the sexual part,
Right.
tab into slot, we have a great relationship. We have a perfect relationship.
You and I?
Yeah, you and I live in the same sphere.
We have
Will you
lately
be-
you've been talking about a relationship.
Will you be
a
my
lot.
boyfriend?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I won't come over and I won't dirty up your house.
That's
you come
fine.
over here on Mondays.
I'll meet you in a park.
I'll tap,
10:30 at night.
I'll tap 3
Right.
times. No, I said everything besides the sex. Our communication, very good. We finish each other's sentences.
Sandwiches. What'd you say?
We finish each other's sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Okay. Perfect. Delicious. IMDb score 8.7.
Wow.
Did you hear me?
That's amazing.
8.7.
They don't get that high. They don't get that high. Because I got high.
There's a lot of. I saw him once live.
Why?
My brother wanted to see him. He was at a bar locally. Afro Man.
Yeah. At a bar, huh?
Oh, it was as good as you would think. Actually, you know what was funny about that? A lot of young white kids there.
Sure.
There was a white dude. Like I was standing around the main bar area, and right over my shoulder there was a booth. And in the booth, you had a white dude and a black chick, and they were making out hard. And this girl's titty comes out numerous times in the bar.
Wow.
Fantastic, great show, Afro Man.
Good on you.
Viewer reviews. These are the taglines from all this.
Okay.
Ready? I have no words. Wow, amazing. Very demented, yet satisfying. ABC, not my flavor. That's what Korgoth said about the bubblegum woman at Monster. So pitch perfect, it is hard to believe. Korgoth Barbaria is in the house, sex, violence, and heavy metal. Hairy balls of the gods. I've dated uglier girls than you for breakfast. Wonderful new blood and guts cartoon. The show is awesome. They should have made more. A humorous tribute to the original Conan. Spadoinkle, not sure what that is. Super great. Again, hairy balls of the gods. A flawless recreation of Conan the Barbarian as a cartoon parody. Me love Korgoth. Gruesomely brilliant. Impressive pilot. They better make more. Pretty sick yet entertaining. This show was awesome. They should have made more. And then you know what? That was from IMDb. I didn't pull any punches. Those are every single one on there. People love this cartoon. People love it.
And you would think that Adult Swim would. They obviously have to look at IMDb.
There's got to be what is the expensive part of this where it wouldn't be worth it for them to do it? Is it some licensing thing? Is it through Hanna-Barbera where they would have to like a big franchise fee? I have no idea.
Is it because of the violence that I don't know.
They can honestly, at a certain point at night, you can put almost anything on TV. It seems like
Right. It's not like during 9/11 where Constant Pain got the axe because
crashing into buildings,
and stuff.
terrorists
I mean,
stuff.
when was the last time there was an actual barbarian in the world that's going to be insulted by this, or that the townsfolk are going to fear?
It's a long time coming. That's what I say. Let's take this in for a landing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Well, he's down there.
Yeah, John, Tarmac John.
Yeah.
I think you'll be okay.
I'm curious about the crutches too.
Well, I think he was probably just so weak from all the blood loss that he probably needed a way to get around. He knew he had a job to do still. He doesn't want to get written up for insubordination.
Because that's already he missed that one day,
Yeah.
and then was insubordinate with you on the phone.
Right.
But since then, I mean, besides then he wanted a raise because of winning Tarmac.
Which honestly we bended. We gave him a little bit of a raise.
A little bit. We're not gonna talk shop
Right.
on the show.
Thank you.
But he was compensated for winning that award.
Very appropriately.
But kind of concerned.
That's fine. He'll clot eventually.
We all do.
We all
We all clot eventually.
sex or death,
What?
taxes, and clotting.
Yeah.
Those are three things you can count on in life. You wanted to know what Couch Pilots is about. We told you. You want to know the name of the show? We told you. What happened in the year it came out? We told you that too. You want to know what the star of the show had to say about it? We told you. We got a hold of Diedrich Bader. He told you exactly what he thought about the show. We gave you the interesting facts. We broke down the pilot. You got to hear critics' reviews, people's reviews. We told you why it didn't work. And now we're going to give you our rating. Out of 1 to 7, 1 being the worst and 7 being the best, this is based on the classic 90s television show Wings. We take all the characters and we align them with a number. The worst being Roy Biggins, the best being a Brian Hackett, which you just gave out last week.
Yep, first one ever. My first one ever.
Your first.
You throw them around like they're
candy.
like they're barbarian women. You can just do whatever with. But I hold mine close to
That's
my
fine.
loins.
And for that they're more sacred and perhaps more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help the way I feel. So if something's a 7, it's a 7. But in this case, this show for me is a really solid 6.
Solid 6.
This show is very good. I like it. This is almost a 7 for me. Not quite, but it is very good.
Do you think you could handle a season of it, 13 episodes of it?
Yes.
Really?
Honestly, I would almost take it in 12-minute chunks. I think it could do it as a shortened thing. There are parts of the show that lagged a little bit here and there. But of course, you have to have your peaks to have your valleys and vice versa.
Arkansas.
Mhm.
Arkansas
Yeah.
Razorbacks.
Arkansas Razorbacks. That's correct. Thank you. So I give it a 6. It's a Helen Chapel. I think this is a very solid show. And quite honestly, this is the 3rd or 4th time I've actually seen it. I saw it way back in the day. Maybe not when it originally aired, but very close to around that time. And then I have since seen it online a couple times just because I know I liked it so much.
Right.
So I give this a very solid 6, and I'm happy with that rating. Captain Philip, rest assured, I turn to you. What do you rate Korgoth of Barbaria?
Let's double Helen Chapel this bitch. I'll give it a
6.
6.
Sign of the Beast, 6-6.
Well, not such an aggressive beast. About 600.
Adjacent to Satan.
Adjacent to Satan. Ooh, that would have been a good show title.
Oh, boy, yeah, it would be. That's it.
I'm adjacent to Satan.
And the next episode of IBWIP, inevitably titled Adjacent to Satan.
6.
How about Adjacent to Jason?
Adjacent to Basin?
And with that,
Justine Baseman.
Adjacent Bateman? That works too. Uh-oh. Got a pain in your shoulder all of a sudden? Christ, let's go ahead and hurry up and close the book forever.
Close it.
You got it? Close it quick. We're closing it. And with that, we close the book on Korgoth of Barbaria, but we aren't done. Won't you join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of The IT Crowd? Here's a little something to wet your whistle. A team of computer geeks work in the IT department of a major company. You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes. or go to whatculture.com and search the IT crowd.
This sounds familiar. I'm anxious to. I think I've went through this maybe and seen it.
We have talked.
Not seen it, but
seen the title. We've talked about Dan Harmon before. I'm a huge fan of his show Community. Stars Joel McHale. Joel McHale stars in the IT crowd. So because of that, honestly, this is another one that I was not aware of, and I am excited to watch.
all right. Well, I look forward to it.
And if you have anything that you would like to look forward to, please send us that to couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. Drop us a line.
Facebook.
Hey, dummies, tell me this is something you should look into. We'll do it. We'll look into it.
We haven't talked about the frequent flyer program in a couple episodes.
We should touch on that real quick before we wrap up the show.
We got a few minutes.
Yeah.
That has been allotted to us. We can spend a certain amount of time on the tarmac, getting everything's back in order.
Yeah, kissing the ground. Whenever I come off, it was like we was up in the sky. We shouldn't be up there. We weren't meant to fly.
That's right.
We're human beings.
You took it up.
Yeah.
I did all the stuff in the middle. You brought it down.
And then I come down and I kiss the ground.
Just like the Brickyard 500.
Exactly.
Kiss
right.
those bricks at the end of the race.
Kiss them bricks.
Kiss them bricks, bitches.
Kiss my britches, bitches.
All right, frequent flyers. If you are subscribed to the show, if you're on our Facebook page or Twitter, following us on Twitter, you earn.
Anytime you have some sort of interaction with us, whether it's
Sharing
dropping us a line,
sharing a link.
Yep, absolutely.
Telling a friend, we'll know. If you say, hey, you're at work and stand in front of the water cooler and be like, hey, I listened to this amazingly entertaining podcast.
They're so handsome and smart.
Sultry voices.
Right, like silk.
We'll know. And we're like, doop, 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 go to the pachinko machine.
Yep.
You can win. You can cash your points in for signed aviator glasses.
Oh, my God.
We will pay the postage.
We've had frequent flyers come in here before and be on the show.
You can take a flight with us.
Yes. An array of surprise prizes.
Surprise prizes like no other.
I know we sent out recently some signed underpants.
Yep.
One time, Tarmac John, because he goes through all of our garbage and does our recycling, he stomped all of our old cans. We sent a bag of cans to someone recently.
We had one frequent flyer who emailed us and said, I love Tarmac John. He's my favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
And she said, will you look at my frequent flyer points? I would like a surprise prize. Looked it up on the pachinko machine. She had a lot.
She did.
And so we sent a signed orange cone from Tarmac John.
Those aren't cheap.
No. And you know what? He made me put the D batteries in it so when she opened it up, it would light up.
What a good dude. What a great guy.
Killer dude. So, hey, tell your friends, follow us, share us.
We're keeping track.
We are on YouTube. Just search Couch Pilots Podcast. Subscribe to that. iHeartRadio. We are on there. We're on Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict. We're on iTunes. Any form of a podcast outlet, we're on it.
Yep.
Subscribe.
Yep.
If you subscribe, it takes all the stress away. It'll come up every Monday.
I hate stress.
I hate stress. It makes me want to be a barbarian.
Ooh, stop, please. Just relax.
I feel like Pluto when I have that problem.
Bluto or Pluto?
Pluto.
The dog?
No, the planet that's no longer a planet.
I see.
I was trying to bring it back.
I'm sorry.
Apple pie moonshine, bring it back.
You know what? So our pachinko machine has been running around the clock, keeping track of all those interactions people are having with us, calculating all the people that are listening, and adding up all the frequent flyer miles. They add up to something. Don't be left out in the cold. Sign up today, be a frequent flyer, and you will start to receive excellent gifts. You'll be a part of this show. You'll be making history with us.
Definitely.
So, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up for today?
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad, indeed. And with that, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
We love you.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Toscher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.